seconds, the crowd going wild, just pure cinematic glory.
Oh, absolutely. It's the highlight reel bias, I think. We inherently crave that romance of the beautiful game.
We really do. But then you look at what actually happened last night in Philadelphia during the 2026 World Cup round of 16.
Yeah.
France just scraped by Paraguay in this grueling 1-0 victory, and suddenly that romantic cinematic image is completely shattered.
Totally shattered.
Because we're looking at a match that was honestly less of a beautiful dance and more of a suffocating attritional trench war.
A literal trench war, yeah.
So today we are doing a deep dive to extract a tactical masterclass directly from the source.
And it's an incredible source.
It really is. We've got this incredibly detailed post-match breakdown provided by none other than the French captain himself, Kylian Mbappé.
Which is just unheard of.
Right. He sat down for this massive debrief while his legs were still heavy, and his medical team was literally working on him at 2 a.m.
Wow.
And he just explains this hidden chess match that most of us completely missed while watching the broadcast.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the first half of this game was just one massive optical illusion.
Yeah, that phrasing is exactly spot on. I mean, for you listening, if you love understanding the why behind the what, diving into these specific tactics will completely change how you watch the sport.
For sure.
Because on the surface, the numbers tell a very specific, and I would say highly deceptive, story about control.
Right, let's actually talk about those numbers for a second. The first half stat sheet shows France with 71% possession. 71. As a fan, you see that and think, well, they are absolutely dominating the pitch.
Naturally.
But neither team had a single shot on target. Mbappé actually rated France's first half performance of 5.5 out of 10.
Which is pretty low for a team with the ball that much. Yeah, and he rated Paraguay's performance an 8. So I have to ask, how does a team keep from mentally breaking when they realize their opponent actually wants them to hold the ball for 71% of the half?
It's so tough.
It's like running on a treadmill, you know? You're expending a ton of energy, you're exhausted, but you're going absolutely nowhere.
Right. What's fascinating here is how Mbappé describes this exact dynamic as a psychological trap.
A trap?
Yeah, a trap set by Paraguay's manager, Gustavo Alfaro. Paraguay didn't come to Philadelphia to play open, expansive football.
Completely not.
No, they set up in a hyper-rigid 5-4-1 low block. They had their 3 center backs, that's Gomez, Balbuena, and Alderete, playing within 5 yards of each other.
Wait, 5 yards?
5 yards.
That is essentially forming a human wall across the penalty box. Okay. There's no physical way to slip a pass through gaps that small.
Exactly. That was the foundation of the trap. But the more insidious part wasn't just sitting deep. Their midfield 4 aggressively pressed France's double pivot in the first 15 minutes. They were specifically suffocating early on Tchouaméni, so he just couldn't turn with the ball.
Okay, hold on. Just for those of us who don't spend our weekends analyzing tactical whiteboards, what exactly is a double pivot and why was it so important for Paraguay to suffocate it?
Sure, yeah. Well, a double pivot just refers to 2 defensive midfielders playing side by side.
Okay.
They act as this sort of hinge, connecting the defensive line to the attacking forwards.
Gotcha.
So by pressing Tchouaméni relentlessly, Paraguay essentially broke that hinge. This forced France into making these really slow horizontal passes between their center backs, Upamecano and Saliba.
And that's the treadmill part.
Right. And that is the psychological warfare of boredom.
The boredom.
Yeah. Paraguay wanted the French attackers to get so frustrated by passing sideways that they eventually forced a high-risk, low-percentage pass down the middle.
Oh, I see.
And as soon as that impatient pass happens, Paraguay intercepts it and triggers a counterattack into a wide-open space.
Wow. And it wasn't just a mental toll, right? It was incredibly physical out there.
Oh, absolutely brutal.
The Argentine referee, Facundo Tello, allowed some really robust challenges early on.
He really let them play.
Yeah, Mbappé noted there were 4 or 5 cynical, tactical fouls on him and Bradley Barcola. They were just designed to clip ankles and stop transitions.
Yeah.
And Tello didn't give out early yellow cards. Mbappé specifically said this changed the entire psychological boundary of the match.
It always does. When a referee swallows his whistle early on or just refuses to go to his pocket for those tactical fouls, it gives the defending team tacit permission to keep doing it.
Right.
And for players like Mbappé and Barcola who really rely on explosive transition speed, it introduces genuine fear.
Fear of getting hurt.
Exactly. You're not just fighting the tactical block, you're fighting the very real threat of an ankle injury. The mental discipline required to not react, to not get a yellow card yourself for dissent while getting hacked down is immense.
Which brings us to the real-time solution.
Yeah.
Because usually we imagine the manager as this solitary tactical mastermind, pacing the sideline, moving chess pieces in his head.
The traditional view, yeah.
But the source material gives us this incredible moment in the 38th minute. Mbappé actually calls an impromptu tactical huddle with manager Didier Deschamps during a throw-in.
Mid-game.
Yeah. He is actively redesigning the midfield architecture right there on the pitch.
And this is where elite player intelligence really shines. Pembap realized why he and central striker Marcus Thuram were completely isolated.
Why was it?
Well, Paraguay's wingbacks, specifically Cáceres on the right, were incredibly disciplined. They weren't pushing forward at all. In fact, Cáceres was dropping so deep, he was forming a temporary back six.
A back six?
Yeah.
No wonder they couldn't find any space up there.
It was a completely suffocating net. So Thuram is picked up by Balbuena, and Mbappé is being double-teamed by Cáceres and midfielder Villasanti. France's flat double pivot in midfield meant nobody was pushing into those gaps to drag those defenders away. So Mbappé tells Deschamps to break the flat pivot.
He just tells the manager to change the structure.
Right. He instructs him to push Eduardo Camavinga 10 yards higher into the left half space.
Okay, wait. Before we talk about moving him 10 yards, clarify the half space for me.
Sure.
It sounds like something out of sci-fi, but what is it on a football pitch, and why is it so incredibly dangerous?
Well, imagine dividing the pitch into 5 vertical lanes. You have the 2 wide lanes by the sidelines, the center lane right down the middle, and then the 2 channels nestled right between the center and the wings.
Okay, I picture it.
Those 2 channels are the half spaces. They are incredibly dangerous because they sit perfectly between the opponent's center backs and fullbacks. It's the ultimate blind spot.
Right.
Defenders hate stepping into the half space because it breaks their defensive line and leaves a huge gap behind them.
Got it. So moving Camavinga 10 yards into that specific blind spot changes the entire geometry of the game.
Completely. It creates what we call an artificial overload.
Artificial overload.
Yeah, by moving Camavinga into that left half space, it forces the Paraguayan defensive midfielder Villasanti into a split-second crisis of decision-making.
Oh, because now there are too many guys to cover.
Exactly. Does he stay back to double-team Mbappé, or does he step up to close down Camavinga? He physically cannot do both.
Right.
You are forcing the defensive block to break its own structural integrity.
He's just damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Precisely.
And what's amazing is how Mbappé translated this structural fix into his halftime speech.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Because we all remember the viral video of Mbappé screaming in the locker room during the 2022 World Cup final against Argentina.
Oh, yeah, legendary.
Just pure, unadulterated emotional fire. But he noted this halftime in Philadelphia was totally different. No screaming, no broken chairs.
Very calm.
It was purely structural. He basically told the young guys, like Barcola and Saliba, to just increase the speed of the ball by 10%.
Just 10%.
Right. Play 1 touch instead of 2. But let me push back on that for a second.
Sure.
Does a 10% increase in ball speed actually matter? It sounds almost imperceptible. You're talking about maybe a fraction of a second.
Well, that fraction of a second is everything. Let's break down the physics of human reaction time versus ball speed.
Okay.
When a defense is sliding back and forth to cover horizontal passes, they are constantly adjusting their body weight. Right.
Makes sense.
If you play 2-touch football, meaning you receive the ball, snap it, look up, and then pass the defensive line has that extra second to slide over and close the gap.
Right.
But if you switch to 1-touch football, just redirecting the momentum of the ball instantly, you eliminate that pause. A 10% increase in ball speed literally outpaces human biomechanics.
Oh.
The defenders just can't shift their weight fast enough to slide. The defensive lines literally tear open.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The structural shift from Camavinga pushing up laid the groundwork, but it still required a massive personnel change from the manager to finally break the wall.
It did.
In the 62nd minute, Deschamps makes a really bold move. He takes off Marcus Thuram, who, to his credit, had been battling 3 giant center backs with his back to the goal for an hour.
A thankless job.
Truly. So Deschamps moves Mbappé into the central number 9 role, moves Barcola to the left wing, and brings on a 21-year-old kid, Désiré Doué, to play on the right wing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing moving Mbappé to the absolute center completely broke Paraguay's marking system, right?
Yeah.
Because normally with what you guys call zonal freedom, those three center backs can just seamlessly pass runners off to whoever's in their designated zone.
Yeah, you've nailed the exact mechanic. For the first hour, Gomez and Alderete had that zonal freedom. They were comfortable.
Right.
But the moment Mbappé moves to the absolute center of the pitch, that comfort vanishes completely.
Because it's Mbappé.
Exactly. They both have to track him simultaneously now. If either of them steps out of line for a second, Mbappé exploits the space behind them with his world-class pace.
Right, you'll just burn them.
Yeah, so by pitting those two center backs centrally, France suddenly opened up massive one-on-one isolations on the flanks for their wingers.
I see.
And as Mbappé pointed out, 21-year-old wingers like Doué, they don't overthink the tactical pressure. They just see an isolated defender, and their instinct is to just destroy them off the dribble.
Just pure instinct. And that leads directly to the 69th minute, the defining moment of the match.
The breakthrough.
Mbappé makes a darting near-post run. He drags Gomez with him, and Alonso tracks the run for just a fraction of a second.
Just a slight hesitation.
Right, and that split-second hesitation gives Doué a half-meter of space on the right side to cut inside. He bursts past Alonso, and Alderete comes lunging in late with a desperate tackle.
Yeah.
Absolute stonewall penalty.
But getting the penalty is only half the battle in modern football.
Oh, man, this is the part that stresses me out just reading about it. The referee points to the spot, but then we have a 3-minute VAR delay.
3 minutes. It's an eternity.
3 minutes. The Paraguayan players are screaming, pointing at the screens. I always think taking a modern penalty after a massive VAR delay is like trying to defuse a bomb while someone is screaming instructions in your ear.
It really is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of sports psychology, it is genuine physiological torture.
Torture.
You have to remember the physical state these players are in. Mbappé has been sprinting against a brutal low block for 70 minutes.
Right.
And the temperature on the pitch is 39 degrees Celsius.
That's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit for context.
Okay.
Brutal heat.
His heart rate is probably hovering around 180 beats per minute. At that heart rate, your fine motor skills are completely compromised.
Whoa, really?
Oh yeah, you lose the micro-precision required to hit the corner of a net. So while he's waiting for those 3 minutes, the Paraguayan goalkeeper, Orlando Gill, walks right up to him.
Of course he does.
Gill starts playing these mind games, saying things like, "I know where you're going. I watched your Real Madrid tapes. You always go right under pressure."
Oh my God, how do you not react to that? I'd be absolutely fuming.
You do it by turning into a machine. Mbappé doesn't look him in the eye. He doesn't say a single word.
Wow.
He just stares at the spot and executes a highly specific routine. He takes 3 deep, diaphragmatic breaths.
Just breathing.
And this isn't some mystical meditation technique. It's a biological necessity.
How so?
Deep diaphragmatic breathing stimulates the vagus nerve. This nerve acts as the body's braking system, actively forcing the heart rate to drop.
Oh, wow.
It literally overrides the fight or flight response, allowing him to regain the fine muscle control he needs to actually place the ball accurately.
That is incredible. And he had this one golden rule he told himself during that routine, right? Pick a target and do not change your mind.
Crucial.
Because if you change your mind mid-run based on the keeper's movement, you miss 90% of the time.
Almost always.
So he steps up, takes a short stutter step run, and absolutely blasts it into the bottom left corner.
An unstoppable penalty.
Gill actually guessed correctly. He dove right, but he was completely beaten by the sheer velocity of the shot. It was pure release.
And scoring that goal entirely flips the tactical script of the game. Paraguay can't just sit in their human wall anymore.
Right, they're losing now.
They have to come out and play.
And suddenly it shifts from this intellectual chess game into an absolute physical street brawl.
Complete chaos.
Alfaro, the Paraguayan manager, immediately pivots to a hyper-aggressive 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah.
He throws on 2 physical strikers, Sanabria and Barrero, and they just start launching a relentless aerial bombardment into the French penalty box.
Just bypassing the midfield entirely.
Exactly, just lobbing grenades into the area. Yeah. But this is where the French defense had to step up. Mbappé gave incredible praise to his center backs for this.
They deserved it.
He rated Upamecano and William Saliba an 8.5 out of 10. He called them absolute monsters.
High praise from him.
At one point, Saliba won 7 defensive headers in a row. 7. How does a defender just decide to win 7 consecutive headers against 2 fresh, physical strikers? That can't just be about being taller.
Oh, no, it's not just height. It's all about reading the flight of the ball and mastering body positioning.
Okay.
Saliba isn't just jumping higher, he's leveraging his center of gravity. Before the ball even reaches its apex, a center back like Saliba is initiating physical contact, nudging the striker off balance so they can't get a clean jump.
Kind of moving them out of the way before the jump even happens.
Exactly. He dictates the space where the ball will drop. It highlights a really crucial reality of knockout tournament football.
Which is?
Everyone obsesses over the goal scorers, but if your center backs don't have the supreme intelligence and monster mentality to win those messy physical second balls in the final 15 minutes, you are going home, period.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And we shouldn't overlook goalkeeper Mike Maignan either. He got a solid 7 rating from his captain. Not for spectacular diving saves, but for flawless distribution and vocal leadership under intense pressure.
Which is just as important.
It is. Which perfectly sets up the massive debate that exploded on French television networks right after the game.
Oh, the backlash.
Yeah, a lot of fans were heavily criticizing Deschamps. They were demanding beautiful, high-pressing, high-scoring champagne football.
Right.
They look at the absurd attacking talent on the French roster and feel like a pragmatic, defensive 1-0 win against Paraguay is almost an insult to their potential.
Sure.
But Mbappé fiercely defended the pragmatism. He basically said knockout football isn't theater, it's survival.
He's not wrong.
He pointed to Italy in 2006 and Spain in 2010, teams that won multiple 1-0 games to lift the trophy. So is the entertainment value of a sport lost if the most effective way to win a major tournament is to play ugly, attritional football?
Well, this raises an important question about expectation versus reality. There is a massive disconnect between what fans want to watch on their televisions and what statistically wins international tournaments.
Right.
Mbappé is entirely correct in his historical assessment. National teams don't have the luxury of 8 months of daily training to perfect, intricate, high-pressing systems like a club team does.
Oh, because they just meet up a few weeks before the tournament.
Exactly. Pragmatism, defensive stability, and capitalizing on 1 or 2 key moments, that is the proven formula. History remembers the name engraved on the trophy. It doesn't remember the aesthetic beauty of a round of 16 match.
Very true. So pragmatism gets France through to the quarterfinals. Let's look at the horizon, because the narrative only gets bigger from here.
Much bigger.
First of all, with that penalty, Mbappé scored his 7th goal of this 2026 World Cup, tying him with Lionel Messi in the Golden Boot race.
Incredible.
And the media is just eating this up. It's the ultimate individual sequel to the 2022 Qatar final.
It's fascinating to see how Mbappé handles that external pressure, though. He openly admits Messi is defying the laws of nature right now, but he was incredibly firm that his focus is completely on the team's 3rd star, their 3rd World Cup victory.
Right.
Focusing on Messi, who is on the other side of the bracket with Argentina, is a distraction they just can't afford.
Because the immediate threat is very, very real. The quarterfinal match is in Boston against Morocco.
That's going to be huge.
And Morocco just pulled off a phenomenal tactical victory over the host nation, Canada. Morocco is not the same team. France beat 2-0 in the 2022 semifinals. They have 4 more years of elite European experience.
And their tactical profile is incredibly dangerous for France.
How so?
Unlike Paraguay, who wanted to win the ball and just launch it long, Morocco relies on short, highly technical vertical combinations.
Okay.
They use Sofiane Amrabat in the midfield engine room to absorb pressure, and then they release lethal transitional runners like Brahim Diaz and Hakim Ziyech into space.
So how does Amrabat actually absorb that pressure? What's the mechanic there? Does he just hold on to the ball longer?
It's mostly his scanning behavior and body shielding.
Scanning behavior.
Yeah. Amrabat receives the ball and purposely invites the pressing midfielder to commit. The moment the defender shifts their weight to tackle, Amrabat rolls them using his body leverage and slips a precise vertical pass into the blindside space the defender just vacated.
Wow.
It's surgical.
Which is exactly why Mbappé said the blueprint has to be completely different for this next game.
Oh, absolutely.
France cannot afford the slow, horizontal passing they fell back on in the first half against Paraguay. He said their ball speed must be flawless from minute 1.
Yeah, if they turn the ball over cheaply in the midfield against Morocco, Amrabat will carve them open instantly.
Just instantly.
Morocco pairs a world-class defensive block with lethal transitional speed. Paraguay had the block, but lacked the speed to punish France.
Right.
Morocco has both. And to make it even more intense, the Moroccan fans will essentially turn the stadium in Boston into a home game for them.
It's going to be so loud. But you know, the best part of this upcoming quarterfinal, the absolute most poetic part, is the individual matchup.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Mbappé will be operating on the left side or in the half spaces, which means he is going directly up against Morocco's right back. And who is Morocco's right back? Achraf Hakimi.
Yeah.
Mbappe's absolute best friend, his brother and former club teammate. They're literally already texting each other on WhatsApp.
Of course they are.
Mbappé said he was in the ice bath calling Hakimi, and they're both basically saying there is no friendship on Thursday.
I love that.
Hakimi is telling Mbappé he's been studying his tapes for months and knows exactly how to lock down his inside cut.
The psychological warfare there is on another level. Hakimi knows Mbappe's tells.
Right.
He knows the slight drop of the shoulder before the acceleration. It's the ultimate test of execution. When your opponent possesses a biomechanical map of your movements, can you still execute your game plan better than they can stop it?
Man, it is just beautiful irony that the ultimate team sport eventually boils down to two best friends who know every single one of each other's secrets, just facing off on a global stage.
It's what makes the World Cup so special.
It really is. We also got a quick glimpse into Mbappe's predictions for the rest of the bracket.
Oh, yeah.
He tipped Brazil to beat Julian Nagelsmann's structurally perfect Germany, purely based on the individual magic of Vinicius and Rodrigo breaking the tactical system.
Interesting.
And he called the England versus Portugal match a straight 50-50 split. But man, the focus is entirely on that Moroccan wall waiting in Boston.
It's going to be a monumental clash of styles.
So what does this all mean? When you zoom out from the final whistle of that 1-0 victory over Paraguay, you realize how incredibly complex the game actually is.
It's so deep.
It's not just 11 guys kicking a ball around a field. It's artificial overloads and blind spots in the half spaces. It's deep diaphragmatic breathing to lower your heart rate and trigger the vagus nerve. It's moving a player 10 yards to completely break a defender's brain. Knowing these details really transforms the way you will watch the next match.
It really does. And I want to leave you with a thought to ponder that builds on everything we've uncovered today.
Okay, let's hear it.
We just heard how a player, Mbappé, diagnosed a complex spatial issue called a huddle during a throw-in and actively redesigned his team's midfield architecture mid-game.
Yeah.
If elite players with this level of tactical education are now making real-time structural adjustments on the fly, at what point does the traditional role of a sideline manager become obsolete in modern elite football?
Oh, wow.
Are we moving toward an era where the highest level of the sport is actually dictated by player coaches actively solving geometry problems on the pitch rather than a man in a suit shouting from the touchline?
Wow. That is a brilliant question to chew on. Is the manager becoming just a facilitator for the tactical geniuses actually wearing the kilts?
It's definitely something to think about.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning what you see on the surface. Because sometimes a match where one team dominates 71% of the possession without a single shot on target isn't a boring game at all.
Not at all.
Sometimes it's just one team desperately trying to run on a treadmill while the other team is quietly waiting to pull the plug. See you next time.